This is the plaintiff, Ernest Rica. He says the defendant ordered apparel from him for his employees, and he embroidered the defendant's company name and logo on the polo and t-shirts. The merchandise was perfect. The defendant gave him a rubber check, which he hasn't made good on, so he's forced to sue his customer here and now for the $1,618.15 he's owed. This is the defendant, Leon Gorodetsky. He says he's done business with a plaintiff for 8 or 9 years without incident, but this last time was different. The guy's shirts were all missized. The company name was wrong because the shirt said Newark Heart Care instead of Newark Car Care. And he's not paying anybody for missized shirts with the wrong name on them. End of story. He's accused of shirting the issue.
All parties, please raise your right hand.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket. The plaintiff says the defendant stiffed him on embroidering the defendant's company name on some t-shirts. But the defendant says the guy wrote Newark Heart Care instead of Car Care. So he's got to be kidding. It's the case of broken-hearted.
Litigants have been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome.
Okay, Ernest Rica, you are suing Leon Gorodetsky.
Yes, Your Honor.
Gorodetsky. Of Newark Car Care Incorporated. You're the owner for $1,618.15 for t-shirts, 100 and something t-shirts that he purchased from you and never paid for. Okay, what happened?
Well, first of all, I've been doing work with Newark Car Care for about 20 years. Spoke to Leon, he said come in and he needed stuff for the staff. Went into
How big, what is it, Newark Car Care?
Auto repair shop.
Auto repair shop. How much staff do you have at any given time?
14 guys.
Okay, go ahead.
So he gave me an order for, I believe it was 97 t-shirts, which are for the guys in the back, the mechanics. And then he ordered polos for the guys at the counter and some Nike jackets that they would use for Leon and the higher up people. So that was delivered in March. I went in and picked up a check, and the check was returned, the first check I got.
How was it returned for what?
Insufficient funds.
Okay.
So then I told Leon, I need the money, and he gave me another check for the $1,639. That check came back. So then I called the bank that he used, and they said to me literally, this check will never be good.
Okay.
So I said, Leon, give me another check, because I know he has multiple accounts. That one is closed. I've known him for a long time. I figured he wouldn't. So make a long story short, after going back to him, he gave me the check.
A third check.
A third check. This check, again, came back insufficient. So then we went on and on and on. Week after week, we communicated. I called him. He says, I know I owe you the money. Everything was fine, and I'm going to pay you. You've been fair. And it went on and on and on. So after a while, I went to filed it with the court.
Finally!
Yes.
Okay. All right, now, what's going on?
Basically, first part of the story, everything was right. About $2,600 worth of merchandise. Everything was fine. The last one, I was trying to work something out and try to get a discount on the last $1,600 because the shirts came in, and when the summer hit, the stuff was delivered in February, but when the summer hit and we started putting on the t-shirts, the polos were fine. The t-shirts were, take a look.
The t-shirts were?
Well, the triple X that this gentleman is wearing is kind of impossible to work in, especially when he raises his arms up and tries to get some parts out.
Oh, maybe he needs to lose some weight. I'm only using I'm trying to use the brick behind him as a guide to how big he is,
Not me.
Or the bottle. It's not you. It's not you.
What is the item? What is the item that we're looking at?
He claims that this is a triple X and that it doesn't fit. But what I want to know is, okay, so your one triple X guy that works for you doesn't fit a t-shirt. How does that justify you not paying this bill in all this time?
Well,
what else? Is there anything else wrong with the stuff?
No. There was one t-shirt that was misspelled, but unfortunately I don't have pictures of that.
How was it misspelled?
It had heart care instead of heart care. It had an extra letter.
One T-shirt said Newark Heart Care?
A couple of them, about 4 or 5.
How many of them?
4.
Did you bring them?
No, ma'am.
Why didn't you bring them?
Because I did not leave from the shop. I left them at the shop.
How can you be this relaxed about meeting me?
So the guy didn't bring any shirts in. Does this guy lose?
Yes,
Because?
because he doesn't really have any proof that there's something wrong with the shirt.
Fair point. I'm going to give you the last word.
I think he loses because he didn't bring any shirt to prove that he actually made the shirt, and maybe he was
To prove that the shirts were done incorrectly. You kind of said what she said. That's all you had to say going inside the courtroom.
That you would not see to it that you had the evidence that you think, because you're very meek in here, because I think you know you're dead wrong, but in your answer to the complaint, you're like, the large shirts were missized. You put a medium-sized person in the large, and things are showing that shouldn't be showing, but you don't bring me any proof of that. You bring me one kind of overweight guy, okay? But if it's true, then you took a picture of a 3X. If it's true that the T-shirt he has on is a 3X, okay? If the T-shirt he has on is a medium, then yeah, it's going to look like that on him. So I don't know. You don't exactly show me the T-shirt on him to see what size it is. So I don't know.
It's on them.
But
You can see the skin.
you see the skin?
Yes, ma'am.
All right,
I believe so. It's right on them. We peeled it back. As much as we could, we peeled it back.
Yeah. Yeah. So that would be size wrong. How many extra larges did you get? And why didn't you bring this to his attention and repair the one problem instead of stiffing him $1,600? What's the real reason? You don't have the money? You're having money issues?
Things got out of control, and
I understand, but why don't you just be mad about it instead of saying, his workmanship is shot? Let's see what the things that you said in your answer to the complaint. Company name wrong. Newark Heart Care. How does one shirt say Newark Heart Care? It's impossible.
It's exactly, because it's all one
It's
screen
all done
that's
in
printed.
one screen. You stopped payment on the check. That's not true.
No.
You didn't stop payment on the check. It bounced because you don't have money in your account. So why'd you say you stopped payment on the check? I told the plaintiff about the mistakes. Did he ever tell you anything about any mistakes?
Matter of fact, when I went
Is
in
that
there,
part also not true?
when I went in there multiple times to
He
see
was
him,
horrified
he was
and shamed.
No, he was fine. He was
Well, he
happy.
should be horrified and
was
shamed that he
happy
hasn't paid you.
with the Nike jackets. He said he
Was he
wanted to
wearing your jacket?
He wanted to order more. That's what he said
oh,
to
that's
me.
not happening until he's paid for the last one.
So I mean, and not only
Was he
that,
wearing the jacket? Was everybody wearing your stuff that they hadn't paid for when you
Yeah.
walked?
The jackets
there.
were fine. Yes.
not
No,
only,
everything. It was everybody wearing your stuff when you go over there.
and I said to Leon, listen, I'm more than happy to take $200-300 a week. I don't care. Just pay me.
Yeah.
And
what did Leon do?
He said, I'll give you a credit card in a week. I'll give you a credit card in a day. I was calling him 5 times a day to try to,
Do you realize how bad you look?
Sometimes 6. It was really annoying.
Yeah, well, really, why don't you just pay the guy? What's wrong with, why can't you give the guy a credit card? You maxed out on all your credit cards? You don't have any cash to give the guy?
Correct.
Okay,
At the
you got a
moment,
bunch of people chasing you for money?
No.
Business not so good?
No, mostly earning.
Well, then why don't you just pay him? The guy's been good to you for 20 years. Why would you burn this bridge?
I was working on paying him.
You're not working on paying him.
But
Working
this-
on paying him is handing him $200, $300, putting yourself on a payment plan with him. Doing what you're doing, which is stringing him along and wasting the man's valuable time with 3 bounced checks, is not working on paying him. See, that's the thing. There's no shame in going through tough times, but there's shame in treating him like garbage. And that's what you did. You treat him like garbage. You didn't even bring me the shirts you're complaining about to prove to me that there's a complaint. You could have brought me that XXX so I could see it right here. You could have brought me, look at all the problems. That's why I'm not paying. That's your answer to the complaint. Oh, there's tons of problems. That's why I'm not paying. So we straighten this out. And then all of a sudden you're here and now it's like, oh God, she's going to cross-examine me. Let me tone it down. And now it's just like, yeah, you're right. I treated him like garbage. All right.
Pictures are good.
Pay the man. Pay the man. $1,618.15. Verdict for the plaintiff.
Thank you. Well, here comes the defendant, and it seemed like in there that your defense, if that was one, just completely fell apart in there.
Completely fell apart. It was lack of evidence on my part. The judge came to the right conclusion.
Anything to say on your own behalf here?
No, sir.
Okay. All right. There he goes. Wow. Okay, so here you go. You satisfied how this comes out here?
I'm finally satisfied. You know, I just honestly just wanted to get payment, and I was more than fair.
What if he wants another order from you?
You know, who knows? I have to think about that one.
Really? Harvey?
You know, you should know this. In some states, if you stop payment on a check and you do it in bad faith where you never intended to let that check go through, you could be subject to 2 or 3 times the amount of the check as a penalty.